there are humans walking around amongst us that are here from other star systems who have incarnated from another being, who have projected their soul and consciousness into human form for many different reasons, to help with the awakening, to help humanity. And in the case of my client today that I channeled for, who's also in the New Earth Collective community, she came here to study humanity. And I want to share with everyone what came through. So my client, we'll call her Jane. She has struggled with quite a bit of trauma in her life. She has experienced physical trauma, mental, emotional trauma, a lot of challenges. And what I was shown was that she has had many lifetimes. They showed me several different lifetimes that she's had where she's experienced pretty intense emotional lifetimes, not having a voice, experiencing trauma and abuse, and not being able to speak up. They showed that she was a soldier in a war that was fighting for a cause that they didn't believe in, that there was a lot of suppressed emotion. And she's had a lot of those experiences in her life, in this current life, where she's experienced things and not fully worked through or dealt with the trauma that has come from the emotions that have come from the trauma. And what I was shown was that she's from Sirius B, which I don't know a lot about, and that apparently, from what I was shown today in this channeled session, that this area that she's from is kind of like a study area. There's a lot of beings here that are studying lots of things, but for one, humanity. And what I was shown is that we're like a petri dish here on Earth. There's a lot of different things going on, but we are being studied. Not only are we being studied, but we are incarnating into the physical form in order to come into the actual case study that we are studying in human form, so we can understand it at a deep level. So what they showed me is she typically doesn't have a very broad spectrum of emotion in this other form that she has been for a long, long time. This is where her soul originated when it was created, and has spent a lot of its existence. And what they showed me is that she's kind of like a scientist and a researcher, although she's not in this lifetime. They showed that she is, and that she's part of a group, that she's transmitting information back to this group through her human experiences. And she actually told me later that she had an out-of-body experience, like a near-death, but she wasn't near-death, out-of-body experience a while ago, where she was shown scientists and several other things that confirmed for her that she is here on a kind of a research and study mission. So in order to fully understand the human emotions and what our emotions are capable of causing us to do, she wanted to come into the human form. So instead of studying it from outside, she wanted to understand what it felt like in this form. So she's chosen extreme polarizing situations in order to understand it from firsthand experience. And what they showed me is, like scientists who study behavior of rats, they're disconnected from the outcome of the rat, the pain and the trauma that's caused through the study, through the experiments, because they're interested in the outcome. They're interested in the behavior that they're studying in order to solve a certain problem. And that's how she's typically studied humanity. So now in human form, with not a ton of experience with the broad spectrum of emotions that humans hold, she is studying from within, and these emotions are foreign. And what they said that she's here to do is alchemize and learn transmutation of human emotions. And what they showed me also is that the powers that were at the top of this pyramid here, who are manipulating us to also study us, but feed off of our energy, they know how the human emotions work. They know that our emotions, if we don't understand them and we're not awake and we let our emotions cause us to take action negatively, that they've learned that they can manipulate us through our emotions, which is why everything that you see on TV and the media is geared towards really manipulating you and causing you to feel anger, worry, doubt, fear, and division of your fellow humans. So she's part of a team that studies human emotion in order to determine how to support humanity on the flip side, to help encourage us with our awakening, but just in general, how to support us in using our emotions, or supporting us in our emotions, till we take action from a positive perspective. And what they shared is that, and I don't understand a lot of this fully, because I'm not shown this often. So I wouldn't call myself an expert based on what, I'm an expert in several other things I would call myself, like mission and purpose, things like that come through a lot. but this I'm not. So I don't fully understand it. But what they showed me is that the human collective, we were always originally an experiment, and we continue to be an experiment in many different layers, and that what happens here has ripple effect out across the galaxy and across universes. So because what's been happening here is a lot of negative manipulation of our emotions, this group, this study team is what just came in, is here to learn how that's possible and how to help counteract that, because of the implications that us here on Earth being negatively acting from our emotions is causing across galaxies and universes. I thought that was wild. So she's told me later that she was shown she was shown that galaxies and universes, and that we are impacting them, and she didn't understand fully what that meant, and I don't fully understand what it means either, but that's why she's part of this study team. So she is here to learn how to alchemize and transmute emotion in order to bring that back. And I'll touch on Rh negative as well. They touched on her blood type, and this is how it was shown to me. And I think there's many different ways this can be explained. The more I learn, the more I realize there is to learn. Is that her blood type is a marker. And I didn't understand that at first. I said, well, how can't you guys just track her without this marker? I mean, I feel like anything's possible, you know? And they said, it's more like a transmission marker, transmission device. Her blood is a way to transmit her findings in this human body back to the team, which I thought was wild. And they also said that it enhances her abilities. And I'm curious about this. The session was 2 hours long, and we could have gone for hours because there was so much great information coming in. My questions are, was she born with this blood type, and was it changed or spliced or something later on? And what they said is, they didn't answer that. I didn't ask that question in the session, but what they said is that there are programs that have been created to scan for people with this blood type. And these are some of the people that were pulled into the GATE program and the TAG program, because the powers that were understand the greater purpose of blood types, specifically the Rh blood type. So I know I've had a lot of people who have asked about the Rh blood type. There you go. What do you think about this? Does this help shed more light on your human experience? Drop your questions and comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.